Should get recording.
Her off.
Welcome to the official BudHole podcast, bringing you everything you need from sports to entertainment. Now, introducing your host, Scott, the Great Brandino, Gage's Rage, and Star Lamar. Well, that was abrupt. Just all of a sudden stops on us.
It's a pretty good intro, though. I like the new intros.
It is.
I'm not sold yet. It's not
Still
enough,
waiting?
Not enough of me in it.
Yeah, it's not the do your dance at the BudHole.
I'll tell you what, we did get some mixed reviews on it. So, Superfan Shanny,
Superfan Shanny, yep.
he gave us some constructive criticism, but fuck you, I hate you, and you're wrong. This voice is made for deep intros.
Hell yeah. How you boys doing today?
Good. We are Scottless.
Yep. He's another contract dispute.
I thought it was because he's getting chopped. He had to take a couple days off and recover.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have some alligator tears after this week in the Guillotine League.
It's not over.
Doesn't alligator tears mean fake?
I mean, yeah, what kind of baby cries over fantasy football?
Scott? The biggest ones? I don't know. The same ones who assault people in trades?
That's true. He went out and took his anger out on one of our vulnerable new owners in our friends' yearly league.
Oh, man.
What a shit move.
And then the way he says it, like, I didn't do anything wrong. It's
The
like, okay,
audacity.
like, technically you didn't do anything wrong, and I get that.
Scott's never going to admit when he's wrong.
No.
We've all been doing this show for long enough. You guys have been friends with him much longer than I have. I don't think I've ever heard him say, "Oop, my bad. I'm wrong. You're right." He defends it
Until he dies. Yeah.
We ended the Madden League because he made horrible trades that made it unfair. And here he is again, taking advantage of a player that we didn't want to join the league because this would happen.
Just to be in last place after this week anyways. Because he's going to lose. And your boy skated by. So I'm going to be at 11th, and he's going to be at 12th.
It was a close call. Again.
I'm so excited for him to have to go to the grocery store every day and buy a zucchini, condoms, and Vaseline. And that's not cheap. Box of condoms, he's going to be spending at least damn near $40 just on condoms.
They don't go bad ever, right?
Yeah,
No, there's an expiration date, but
no,
they do. They are expiration dates.
that's like expiration date on medicine. Like,
and milk.
it's still good.
it might not be as good.
Just
It's
smell
not
it.
99.9 anymore, but it's 80.
Yeah, smell it before you use it.
Cornbread goes bad,
That's true.
and that's box food. So
Maybe after like 5 years or something.
yeah, it was like 3. Okay, it was 3 years expired. One time.
People don't forget.
Well, anyway, this is the fantasy football episode.
Episode 151.
Is that what it is? 151?
Yeah,
Damn,
151.
look
We
at
hit
us.
the big 150
We
last
just
week.
throw out numbers. I think next episode is 200.
Something like
We
that.
just get 50 at a time.
Yeah, we have, 50,000, 50 million? So, yeah, we have subscribers.
That's
50
just
million.
in Siberia or Transylvania or wherever that was.
What's the
Slovenia.
phrase?
Slovenia. I don't know. It's hard Russian stuff. I can't remember.
He learned it once, and now we forgot. Rosetta Stone.
Yeah.
Got to get Rosetta Stone.
Well, what's the cheap one that's on the phone?
Audible.
No, that's
the
reads
book
books
reading.
to you.
Yeah, it's not that.
Speak Now.
I
it's
had
Taylor
it.
Swift album.
Come on!
I had it, but it kept yelling at me saying, "You didn't do it today because you're supposed to do it every day."
Oh,
And
You
I
had to
was
get rid of
I
it.
was like, "No, like not today. I don't
Not
want to
today.
learn anymore.
no, thank you,
I'll
sir.
come back when I'm ready." And it just kept bugging me, so I deleted it.
What were you trying to learn?
Espanol.
And how's that going?
I can say Espanol.
El
How'd you-
Gato.
Ask Gage's Rage, man.
Are you good?
I'm
You
like
fluent?
bilingual a little bit. I took it in college.
His name
Yeah.
was Herbert.
No, my name was Gonzalo.
Oh,
Herbert Halloween.
the pervert.
Something like that. Hola, ¿cómo está?
Bien.
¿Cuál
Así,
es tu
así.
cumpleaños?
Cerveza.
August 31st.
See, you fucking took it a little bit.
I had 8th and 9th grade. Had a hot-ass teacher. What's up, Peter Fesso, if you're listening?
Senior pay?
Real fay.
I took German.
That's like a...
Sprechen nur wenig Deutsch?
9.
Wasn't really a question. Now that I think about it, but I said it like a question. And that would have been correct. You do not speak a little bit of German.
No.
I took 4 years of it.
Did you?
Yeah, college level. That was actually pretty good. And then...
Is it gone?
Sprechen nur wenig Deutsch. So I speak.
See.
Un poco. Yeah.
Hello. I know a couple things. A few things are changed. How'd your fantasy weeks go this week for you?
We're still working on it. They were going great. I was loving it. And then I played Tyler Lockett in both leagues. One with Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett. And those guys came back a little bit. I'm down by 1 with Cooper Kupp. And I'm up by 17 against Cooper Kupp. So Cooper Kupp, go out there, do your 4 catches for 50 yards thing, and we're cool.
And that's that.
Yeah, that's...
Simpatico.
It's a tough line to keep, but Bears defense is pretty solid. I think you're in contention there.
I think they're 2 against wide receivers or something like that.
Nice.
Yep.
Solid. Yeah, I'm doing pretty decent. I'm going to make it through another week in the Guillotine League.
Nice.
Thanks to Scott.
Yeah, he's helping us out. I do have a chance to get chopped.
Yeah, it's either you or Scott. So we're definitely losing at least one BudHole member. But what would it take? A Montgomery, 30-point game? About?
32 from Montgomery.
All right. So, I mean, Scott, it was real. It was fun. Somebody
Could even say it's real fun, but
you got to go.
Later, bud. I
Christian
don't want to
Mark.
count my chickens before they hatch.
Oh, I cannot wait to bid on C-Mac.
You lost over half of your money on DK, though, didn't you?
I know, but who's going to bid a bunch of money on an injured Christian McCaffrey?
I could bid 501, and I'd still have half my fab left.
No, you'd have just under less.
I'd have 49.9% of my fab left. I have not spent $1 yet.
Would you actually bid $500 on an injured running back?
Probably not.
He's coming back.
How much do you have left? Like 275? 245?
I don't know about 2.
195. I'll bid 196. All right, and I will
$1 over me. I'm the Mike Davis owner, so I make the most sense to have him.
Well,
so
good for you.
You should just
I don't
let
think
it
anyone
happen.
gives a shit. People are looking, he's available. But Gage has Mike Davis, so let's let him have
Yeah,
first
that
shot.
just seems right. Other than that, there's not a lot of players on Scott's team that I'm like, ooh, I really want that.
I'm shocked that he's actually made it this far. The way number 1 pick gets injured, that's
You know what's funny,
tough to
though?
come back from.
At the beginning of the week, before the game started, he's like, looking on paper, Brandon, your team sucks. It's going to get chopped.
He was giving you a hard time.
I was like, fuck you, bud.
And then you guys were all giving me shit for bidding all that money on DK.
But he did great for you this
2
last
for
week.
24 this week. That's
Look at
worth
me now.
507.
Hey, now, I'm still in it, and I
should've
got one of
gave-
the best receivers.
25 points for that tackle he made.
Who would have fucking thought that Lockett would be going off 15 catches for 200 yards and 3 fucking touchdowns?
I mean, we did see it once already this year.
He had a 50-point game?
Damn near. It's like
Is
45.
he one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league, you think?
I'd argue
Doesn't get the credit he deserves.
Have you seen the toe drags that he makes? Like, almost every week.
Him and Russ have got a connection.
It's next level. I mean, even last year was against the Rams where Russ is rolling out to the left, throws one, it looks like he's throwing away, back corner of the end zone. Just a dime right to Lockett.
Oh,
I mean, he didn't have a dime in between his toes and the white line, and it's a touchdown.
yeah,
He's good.
that's just fun to watch.
Kind of disrespectful, the AB talk going there. I thought they were pretty set at wide receiver.
And
Yeah,
David
but-
Moore is still an awesome third receiver option. That guy, they always talk about having that breakout potential, but it's never produced anything solid. But it is exactly what you need.
Well, AB would be a player to have there, in my opinion. I mean, when you're a powerhouse offense and you're looking for more weapons, especially when your defense isn't that great, you want as many guys as you can get. And we've seen this year more than anything, a lot of big players are going down. So to have that like safety net in case Lockett gets hurt or DK goes down for a couple weeks, whatever it may be, it's nice to have somebody who can step in and is, I mean, we don't know what AB is anymore. Probably still fairly close, but like Gronk, takes a couple weeks to come back.
Yeah, and you
So,
Made
catch the
more
COVID
sense
too.
on Tampa Bay.
you think
Tampa
so?
Bay. Yeah, because Tampa Bay already is Avengers assembled. Those guys are Fournette, Brady, Gronk, everyone's new. Tyler Johnson's has 2 touchdowns already this year. It's a new group. They're all learning together. They can bring someone in, and it's not going to ruin chemistry.
Still blend, yeah.
Seattle Seahawks that offense has been there together for a couple years now.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
By throwing something that might fuck it all up.
Yeah, and AB is definitely...
He's not like a locker room cancer, I wouldn't say.
No, I think Michael Thomas touched the basketball and took all his powers.
Oh, my gosh. And now there's
Space
talks of him
Jam.
getting traded.
Yeah, what were you saying his nickname is in the
I heard
locker room?
in the locker room, he can't stand Mike.
I just love that. I love that he hates being called out for slant routes, and he still can't do anything about it. Something's going on. The Saints aren't happy. I still think my dud should have counted 2 weeks ago. The dude's a dud.
They're winning without him.
Yeah, they don't
Point
need him
blank,
either.
period.
The real Mike Thomas is on the Bengals.
Oh, shit.
More fantasy points this year than the aforementioned Mike Thomas.
That's some interesting stuff.
And my fantasy week, pretty good. Pretty good.
Nail biter.
It was a real nail biter. I was screaming at my phone because I was streaming it. I turned it off 3 or 4 times, and every time I got a text from Star, every time I got a text from Star, I would turn it back on, and then I'd get pissed off again, and then I'd see one more shot. Heard that twice, and then I got that final catch. DeAndre Hopkins needed 1 catch for 2 yards for me to be ahead in that game.
I got it overtime
on their second drive.
Minute left of the game in overtime.
Oh, man, I was sweating. I lost faith in everything. I was wondering what I did to the fantasy football gods that led me astray. And
Thanks, Isaiah Simmons.
they're back. I should thank guys. Yeah, I should send him a fruit basket.
and then speed, man. That guy is quick.
He's so fast, so good. Not superstar X Factor, but superstar quality.
Next
I
year,
was reading it. He's kind of having a so-so season.
Well,
He's
it's
not
'cause
really doing much.
They don't know what position he is.
I'll tell you what, them running that defense with the 2 linebackers and the double A gaps, that looked awesome. I just watched like the last 5 minutes in overtime, so I don't know about the whole rest of the game, but
Dialing up the pressure on Russ. They didn't get a sack until might have even been overtime.
Oh,
and they
really?
They got 2 on the drive.
wow, because I saw that. I was pretty shocked.
I think that
I'm
was
like,
the
they were
first 2
getting
sacks.
after Russ, if that's how good the defense was playing, but obviously,
He's just one of those guys that can evade. No matter how close they get to him, he's never down.
he's got
You know
that
what I mean?
just pressure awareness.
It's
You
the same
can
thing.
always sense that defender about to swat the ball or
Exactly.
come on his blind side. He just steps up, moves just perfectly out of the way.
And Murray, for that matter, is the same thing. I mean, Bruce Irvin had him dead to rights. Murray does this little shuffle shake and then moves forward and dives and like somehow elevates his knees up off the ground just enough to get that ball past the plane and gets a touchdown. And that dude is next level shifty and good.
He's the future, man.
But his accuracy, that's what he has to work on.
Yeah.
I watched it. I was not cursing his name, but I was very, very upset with him. In the fourth quarter, 9 minutes left, down 10. It was down 3, and then they scored and went down 10. It was like an easy pass to Christian Kirk across the middle, and he skyrockets it about 20 yards over his head, picked off. And then Seattle runs the clock down.
Now, this
And then I
was
got
in
nervous.
Seattle, correct?
Arizona.
Oh, it was Arizona. They're a dome.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Was it open, though? They have a retractable. I'm curious.
Like sun, because I
No,
think
they
it was
have a
dark.
retractable.
They do. If there was
dome.
weather, they would have closed it, though.
Yeah.
If there's any type of thing that
But I
would mess
mean,
with
just
game.
the open air stadium, sometimes a cold front can definitely fuck up a ball's flight.
Did you see the
Not
look,
that bad.
the look on Kyler's face on
After he threw it?
DeAndre Hopkins touchdown?
No, he
I
smiled.
heard about
he
this.
smiled as he
there's a
threw it.
thing, and he
Just
just gets a
sees that
big smile
one-on-one?
on his face, and he throws the ball. He knew it was happening. I was seeing something today where they were saying that Kyler Murray is a product of his team. That he's only good because he has good players around him. I don't think
That's
so.
bold. I don't know.
Ooh.
They said he's not a championship caliber quarterback. The only way he could, they compared him to Doug Flutie. They said that the only way he's going to win anything is if they can put a team around him like they're doing this year, as far as weapons.
It's I don't know.
It was his rookie year. They had a bad squad last year.
It's tough to put a guy in a box like that in year 2, but
I mean, in all actuality, couldn't you argue that with almost anybody? I mean, how many players have won without a decent supporting cast? Tom Brady had good defenses the first couple of years. He had superstars.
Aaron Rodgers.
He's won it once. I don't remember what their team was, but I think they had Jordy Nelson, James Jones. They have Greg Jennings.
I was just saying winning in general, not necessarily winning
Oh,
the championship.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is one of those players I think that wins
With
despite
whatever
everything.
talent. Yeah.
Tom Brady, I think, is another. I think. Well, it's tough to say. I heard
They did play well. I was talking championships at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like to compare him to the guy he played against last night.
Wilson.
I think that's kind of the type of player he's going to turn into. You give him 10 years under his belt, or Wilson, what he's at, 8 or 9 right now.
Something like that.
Yeah, right around
I
there.
think he has high football IQ.
Couple
He
championships under his
slides.
belt.
He's already the best slider in the league.
Yeah.
He's not going to get hurt.
He was a baseball player too, right?
Yep. Drafted
First
number
round
1
pick.
overall.
No.
Drafted first round, though.
First round.
Yeah.
I knew 1 was right.
No,
He's
it's
like
exciting
13.
stuff. And I mean, the football games in general, man, there were some fucking.
A lot of close scores,
Woo.
which led to some garbage time fantasy points,
Yep.
which helped out my fantasy team in general. I know that helped quite a bit, actually.
I think about 3:00, my heart was racing for the next half hour, 45 minutes.
Todd Gurley owners are happier than Atlanta Falcons fans. For sure.
Oh, my gosh. Another heartbreaker. That was just rough.
Ugh. Can't win.
Todd Gurley doesn't go down. He tried to.
He
That's
tried.
Todd Gurley's move, too. That guy's always been taking a knee. His football IQ is so high.
Yeah, well, the intention was there, but I
Yeah,
think he had too much momentum and then
Tried so, and
scores and
those defenders were pushing him towards the goal line. They were not
oh yeah.
tackling him. They were trying to get him to score.
And then the Lions drive down the field and to get that touchdown last second to Hawk.
Matthew
That's
Stafford.
4 points I needed out of Stafford.
Those were some Hawk points that were great for me.
He got
For
what,
both of
three,
us.
Yeah.
3 catches in that last drive. Probably another 40 yards and touchdown.
And it was
He
like
didn't have a great game.
5 for
that
56
touchdown.
and a tutty.
Yeah, that all came on the last drive there. And then the Galladay just bomb. That was crazy how it all worked out. Where they threw the penalty flag to review the play, but then they still didn't run off the clock at all. Or
They just said they were set at 3 seconds. We're going to start the clock at 3 seconds with you guys set.
And I think that's only fair.
and I think the Lions have been fucked on this rule before, where they
The
had
runoff.
to run off a clock.
The
and-
Lions
and
have been
the game.
Stafford
fucked on
spoke about
everything.
that post game.
He did?
He said, "I thought it was happening again."
Yeah,
So you can see my body language when that flag got thrown.
like shit. Here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
They've been bit by just the unfortunate bug so many times. That's
Yeah.
almost sad to watch.
Tough to be a Lions fan.
And Falcons fan for that matter.
Well, Falcons deserve it, man. How do you lose a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl?
Same thing being up 20-0 to the Cowboys.
It-
I mean, they've blown
They've blown
3,
leads.
maybe 4 leads this year
Yeah,
in
bad.
the final seconds of the game.
Bad. Leads.
Speaking of the Cowboys, that was a pretty bad fantasy output.
Terrible. It was terrible.
and they lose their quarterback, the second starting quarterback.
But DiVincenzo or whatever that guy's name, he looked great. Did you see him pitch the ball to Zeke?
Oh
He
my
was
God, the
playing
first
hot
play,
potato.
Take it.
He's
Take
a
it.
professional quarterback.
hot potato.
I did not. I could have done better. Like I know I say that often, but I 100% believe that.
You know what? Tomorrow I'm going to make my tryout video for the Cowboys. Let them know I'm ready. I'm ready to play.
It'll just
The
be
flips?
pitches.
Yeah.
We'll just do pitches.
Handoffs and flips.
This is where. See, I can pass it to Zeke. You on screens? Okay.
Does this new quarterback intrigue you at all? Does it affect the fantasy output in Dallas?
Absolutely.
I don't see them going with him.
Yeah, they pick someone up this week if
I
Dalton's
heard
injuries were
making a
serious?
trade possibly for like a Fitzmagic.
Woo, that would be so awesome.
He's on the bench.
Hey, I'll give him Kirk. They want Kirk?
Take Kirk, take that
You
contract.
don't even have
You've
to
got
give
your
us
30
anything
mil
back.
quarterback.
Like,
Yeah.
just take it.
Would you guys swap Kirk for Dak?
Yeah.
No,
We pick up Dak and we give him the contract?
You don't know that he'd take it though. We'd have to franchise tag him and then work it out.
We'd still be in cap hell.
I'd take it with Dak instead of Kirk. Kirk ain't the guy.
No, he's not.
And then we could
He's
draft.
32. You know what you got with Kirk Cousins. And you need a good team around him to be serviceable.
Is this fantasy football or football? We combine
Yeah,
it.
sorry, yeah.
It's fantasy football, so let's get back into it. Top injuries of the week. Deontay Johnson apparently went down with a lower leg injury.
After he put up
Late.
about 30 points, yeah.
Yeah. Which just sucks because I'm watching him on both my benches going, all right, you're working your way back in, and then that shit happens.
what I've heard is that he's not long term. Should be back this week.
Okay, well, that's good.
Just in time for Juju to have a big game. Then Claypool the next week.
I think Claypool's out, man. I was off on Claypool. I think if they have healthy options ahead of him, there's a pecking order.
Kind of seems that way.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton obviously talked about that. He took the bad hit from the Washington team, and he's
Mr. John Bostic.
That's who it was, yeah.
Yep.
Now he's in concussion protocol.
Those 104 first-round picks are looking good for the defense.
Looking good for the defense. OBJ tried to Mortal Kombat kick. I think it was Denzel Ward after an interception.
I don't know what the fuck he was trying to do. But the announcer said OBJ made the tackle, and then they showed the replay, and he was not making the tackle.
No. He jumped in late, and I don't know what happened, but somehow tore his ACL, and he's done for the year.
You gotta hope it's just a cramp.
We got to get that soundbite saved. All right, next week that soundbite's going to be here for the injury report. N'Keal Harry goes on concussion protocol as well. He left the game. Scott says, no New England player worth owning right now. Scott says, fuck you, Cam Newton.
Negative points for his starting
the
quarterback.
starter going forward?
He's got to be.
I don't know if I'd be surprised. They
Brian
benched him.
Hoyer. He's looking
They
pretty
put
good.
Stidham in.
Stidham went in, but he threw a pick too. It was not great. Jeff Wilson went down with an ankle injury after having a hell of a day. And then Deebo Samuel down with a hamstring injury.
Not good.
Chris Carson, a mid-foot sprain. Sounds like he could be out maybe 2 to 3 weeks. And then Kenyon Drake went out with an ankle, and that sounds like it's a multi-week thing too.
They got a bye this week, so hoping that counts as one of those 3 weeks that they said it could be out.
This is an IR, so it will count.
Yeah.
Unless they do put him on IR, which we'd find out probably tomorrow, would be my guess.
I think the most intriguing injury for me is the Jeffrey Wilson. That cat, San Francisco running backs alone get tons of play.
That's all they get.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't the Jet coming in. It was Hasty, Jermichael Hasty.
Yep.
That guy was pretty good, but I think the guy to add this week is Tevin Coleman. I think
Blood plug
Tevin
of the week.
Coleman is coming in hot, looking at this starting role when injuries galore.
What happened to Jet? Do you guys see any of that game? Like,
He was in on a couple third downs for pass blocking, but
He ended negative, right?
yeah, 3 rushes, -1 yard, 1 target.
Yep. Yeah, the Hasty cat, he was getting a lot of looks. So I don't know if it's just after the game, I think they heard from fantasy footballers saying that he was off for rest because he's got a lot of workload the last few weeks. But his fantasy production hasn't shown that. So,
But they were also up a lot. It's not like it was a game where they needed him in and needed him produced, so maybe that holds a little bit of value.
yeah,
It's still something to watch.
take a look at Tevin. If he's on the waiver wire, pick him up.
What about Hyde? Where's
Carlos
he
Hyde,
stand?
he's worth a pickup this week, I would say. I don't know what his roster percentage is because obviously Carson went down once already, so people might be holding on to him, but he's definitely worth a look if he's available in your league.
I don't think the Chris Carson injury is as serious as the first report.
It's probably not 4 weeks or anything like that, but he could be out 2 weeks.
A week or two, yeah.
And I mean, if you need running back help while a team's on a bye, Seattle's already off their bye, so he's worth stashing if you have him.
Without a doubt.
Play the matchup.
Chase Edmonds should be owned
Absolutely.
in most leagues. So
Already.
that might not be a
Already.
good pickup, but
He's
he's
one of the
going to
best.
see major action
He's
after the bye.
He was already playing better than Kenyon Drake this year.
Yeah, without a doubt. And he's more involved in the passing game.
Kenyon Drake was top 4 in rushes.
Drake had
Attempts?
Yes.
one great
Wow.
game last week, though, and I think that might have turned the tides a little bit.
It
What
might have.
happened to this? We need 4 games. We need consistency from Star.
No, I was just saying, your stat was that he's outperformed him, and I don't think he has when you take into account
Last week,
last week's Drake game.
Okay, so currently sitting, Kenyon Drake is RB20, and Chase Edmonds is RB21.
holy cow!
Boom. Lawyered.
There is a less than 2-point difference, a 1.3 point difference between the two.
Starter and backup. Yeah, Edmonds should have been on rosters. If he's not, get him. It's gonna be a solid play. Even after Drake comes back, maybe they transition into the new future.
It's possible.
It's gone.
It looked like it was weird.
This is gonna be a big one. It's coming back.
Just don't do it in the mic. All right, moving into the games this week, we're going to kind of breeze through. The Giants and the Eagles played on Thursday. Outside of Daniel Jones's long run, his rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, he's
Yeah.
lost the game for him in the end. Fumble on the last drive.
Daniel Jones has only had 4 wins as a quarterback. 3 of them are against the Washington football team in his career.
The deep dive stat from Gage's Rage.
Not good quarterback. Not a good quarterback for football. I don't
He
think
doesn't
he's the
have a
greatest
good
fantasy
cast.
football either.
He doesn't.
He doesn't have a good supporting cast.
No Saquon. They'd
No
maybe
offensive line.
Yeah, it's not great, but he tends to fumble in the biggest moments. Now he's
Lots
only in
of
year
turnovers.
2, so it's hard to count him out.
Could be playing himself out of a job.
I think he might be. I think he was the leading rusher on the team, but outside of him, between Wayne Gollum and Devontae Freeman, who would you rather have, if any?
None.
If I'm choosing between the two, I think Wayne Gallman going forward. He got more touches in this last game, didn't he?
He got 10 to 3. So 10 rushes, and then Freeman got 3.
Yeah.
Was Freeman involved in the passing game at all?
I don't think it was
I
that
don't think he
much.
was either,
I
yeah.
think Gallman was, though.
Yeah, he had more grabs.
It's tough to tell. Last week, Freeman was absolutely the guy. Just a bad team. I don't want any part of it.
What about Evan Ingram? Is he a buy candidate for you guys? He is top 5 in targets for tight ends right now, and he is the leading tight end in rush attempts this year. He's got 4, and I think 2 touchdowns.
What is he in as far as ranking, though?
Tight end 17.
If you have tight end 18 on your roster, sure, buy him. But I think you can find a tight end 16 or better.
Yeah, if you have tight end 18 on your roster, email me if a spot opens up. I want to be in your league.
Well, I would say top 5 in targets means that the ball is going to him. And it hasn't panned out yet, but they play from behind, and that's a lot of targets that he gets. I think, top 5 in targets is pretty big when it comes to fantasy. It's opportunity. Now, he's not producing like a top-end tight end, and he had a big drop to seal the game last week. It would have been like another 10-yard... Well, it would have been like a 30-yard grab or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was on 3rd down. So
Those
I
plays
think
happen, though.
he's worth looking into just because of the targets alone.
You have him on.
I do have him. Yep.
Yeah.
It might be roster
Are you
bias.
trying to sell him right now?
What do you guys... Okay, all right. Who do you guys have at tight end?
We
Is this
figured it
the
out.
team that you've lost like 3 games by less than a point? Maybe if you had a better tight end.
No, I would have lost 3 games if I lost this week. I've lost 2 games by less than a point. Fuck you. Moving on to the Eagles side of the ball. Way to bring up bad memories. Boston Scott had a pretty good day, stepping in for Sanders. Do you guys know how long he's out for?
Sanders, no. I heard it was more serious than they first thought.
Did he go on the IR? I think he might have.
Yeah, I think it'll be for sure 3 weeks.
So if you don't have Boston Scott and he's available, I would put a waiver claim in on him because he's
Scoop him up.
a bud plug of the week. And then now that Fulgham had another decent day without a score, 5 for 72, Star Lamar. Is he worth a flex pickup?
Yeah. He is.
4 weeks.
He did it. He did it enough. I don't know if he's like a piece to cherish in a dynasty league or anything like that, like a golden piece that someone just pulled out of there. But he looks pretty good. Deshaun Jackson actually started the game looking pretty good, and then they went away from him. So I don't know if he got injured again
did.
or what.
Yeah.
That
it was
dude
on
can't step on the field without getting injured.
I think it was a punt return, and he's got the same thing I think that Dallas Goedert has. He got twisted up, and, he bent his body the wrong way twice on the same tackle. It was just...
No good.
It was rough, and you could tell right away he was hurt.
I was getting excited at the start of that game. So he's back.
Do you think that he's kind of done now? He can't seem to be on the field and stay on the field. Is he worth... he's not worth rostering
Yeah, he
in the
should
league.
be on fantasy teams.
But even the Eagles, I think, are probably starting to
Second
count
guess it.
down the days.
More than likely.
Steelers-Titans, that was a pretty good game, 27-24. The Steelers won. James Conner had an all right day, but he had 2 touchdowns called back, which would have made it a really good day.
Hell yeah.
Both on holding penalties, I think. One in the air, one on the ground.
That's
Rough.
pretty tough.
DJ, like we mentioned, had a really good day. 8 for 90 and 2 touchdowns, but suffered the injury there at the end. You You said it might be a couple weeks, or you said he might be back this week.
Yeah, I think he's in this week. I don't think that injury will hold him out. More of a precautionary thing.
After dark.
And that was a competitive game, but
It was.
I think they were ahead when it happened. So
Okay. It was towards the end because I know he was still getting targets earlier in the game. Juju had another good day. He just didn't have the touchdowns, 9 for 85. And then Claypool was the obvious dud, 1 for -2. Glad I didn't start him on my guillotine league. Along with Jerick McKinnon
low blowers
and CeeDee Lamb
oh fuck, keeps going.
and Jonnu Smith.
Keeps going.
He had 4 players combined for less than 2 points.
Yeah,
And he still has a chance against me. But it's over. A target share this week, DJ got 15 targets, Juju 14, and Claypool only had 1. Moving forward, who's the guy that you want on your team?
I said it before the season starts. I'll say it again. Deontay Johnson is the wide receiver 1. Juju is a wide receiver 2. If Deontay's out, Claypool elevates to that 1. I'm not a fan of Claypool when everyone else ahead of him is healthy. But if it's a healthy cast, give me Deontay.
Does obviously injury plays a role.
Yep.
And he's been banged up the last 3 weeks in a row.
He's involved in the game. I like that. He's young. He's in his second year. I think he's talented.
If I'm talking this year alone, I think I want Juju. If I'm talking Dynasty League, I think I want Claypool.
Start with 2 wrong answers there. Damn.
That I was going to piggyback right off of that. It's the exact same thing. This year, I think Juju's the guy. With either of those guys on the field, DJ or Claypool, I think Juju can still feast.
Fair enough.
The Titans side of the ball, Tannehill was pretty meh. Really nothing to talk about there. Henry saved his day with a touchdown, but he had just an okay game. I think it was around 14 points. But the big day was for A.J. Brown, 6 for 153 and a touchdown. Big play.
Yeah, he had the one big play. That was awesome.
Yeah, but that can happen anytime with that guy.
That guy
He's
is
talented. He can catch the ball. He's their number 1 wide receiver by
with
far.
A bullet. Yep.
I think you missed your chance to buy on him if you wanted him. I don't think any sane person's going to give him up right now.
Why would you? You got your wide receiver 1. Titans already had their bye. You got the guy.
Now we're going to move into 2 games.
Oh, you didn't even talk about Steven Hauschka, though. Not Hauschka.
Gostowski.
Oh, Gostowski.
How did his
Missed
day
the
go?
game winner.
As my 3 words, a little prelude in the next episode. Gostowski. That hurts.
God damn, we're so clever here at the BudHole.
We're all about alliteration and puns.
True that.
Moving into the next 2 games really don't matter all that much fantasy relevance. The Cowboys at the football team. Dalton went down. Dejana or whatever his name came and stepped in. Didn't do much there either, as we mentioned. Fumbling, bumbling, awkward tosses to Zeke. And
he did go right to Cooper. I think Cooper will have some solid production still, regardless of who his QB is.
Cooper was the only one on that team that did not disappoint. Every other player did. And Cooper was just average, 15 points.
Yeah.
7 targets, 7 grabs, 80 yards. How concerned are you guys with these wide receivers going into the rest of the season, especially with the quarterback kind of up in the air?
I think they're on my bench until I figure out what they're doing at quarterback.
You wouldn't still start Cooper? He's not a must-start for you?
I don't have Cooper. If I'm going to pretend I do, I'm going to look at my roster, and I might start him still, depending on what's going on, bye weeks and whatnot. But I do own CeeDee Lamb, and I don't think I'm starting him until I figure out if they're going to have a quarterback that can throw the ball.
I think it was one catch. He got 0.1 points.
Okay.
So I don't know if he got a catch, but it might have been a 1-yard rush, but it was ugly.
Yeah, for me, Gallup is on a lot of my teams, and I got him on the bench until...
Which is where he should be until we know what's going on.
Yep.
Even with Dalton starting, it still wasn't great.
I even think Zeke is going to be matchup dependent. I mean, I thought they'd lean on him when Dak went out, and he has just not been able to produce.
You think he's matchup dependent?
Right now, yeah.
Right now. Hey, I have Deontay Johnson, who you're really high on. What are you thinking?
We can work on a trade in the yearly league,
We're
I think.
going to work out something?
Yeah, shoot me some offers.
Make it better than the Scott's trade.
I won't trade rape anyone.
That's good. That's good. The integrity at the BudHole is important.
Now that Scott's gone this week.
On the football team side of the ball, Scored McLaurin, really, him and Gibson were the only 2 to talk about.
And Gibson had a game, man. That was sweet.
128 yards and a touchdown.
Sweet.
A little bit through the air, but not much.
What did Logan Thomas end with?
Gage, you looked that up.
I know he had the touchdown, but I don't know if that was his only grab.
He might have had like 3 catches for 35 yards and a score.
For a tight end, though, that's a decent week.
It is a decent week. McLaurin had 7 for 90 and 1, but he also had a touchdown that was just a hair short of scoring.
Thomas's line was 4 for 60 and a score. So
That's
16 points.
That's a good week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on, Bills at Jets. That was a rough day for the Bills side of the ball.
Kicker's delight.
That's really what it was. Tyler Bass, 23 points.
He missed a couple.
He was the only player to score.
I know that Bills offense has just looked rough since the Thursday night game 2 weeks ago.
Against the Chiefs?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. Yeah.
Yes, Tuesday game. That's right.
Yep. They just have looked off. I don't know.
When you look at some of their wins, they're against some bad teams.
Yeah, you
no one really knows who the Bills are right now.
We don't.
But they won another divisional game, which matters.
Yep. But
they're leading the division. They're 5-1, right?
No, they have 2 losses.
Yeah, 5-2.
5-2. This is still my team. I'm still Bills Mafia all the way. I'm not worried, but
you're jumping off the Browns train, huh?
I've been
he picked Bills over Browns.
Yeah, last we've done this.
All right, okay.
I'm on the Browns,
but he definitely needs to start finding his Steph Diggs, John Brown connections.
Again. Well, yeah. Beasley had a good day, 11 for 112.
I know we need those scores though. Production doesn't matter between the 20s, man. We need scores.
That's still 22 points, which is a really good week out of a guy that you're flexing.
Yes,
a run game would help in Buffalo.
Singletary
they don't have
and
that.
Moss are not doing it.
But they're not even trying. I think
they have 12 attempts total.
They were thinking their guys, Josh Allen, they're going to let him go win some games, and they need to establish a run game.
They're winning most of them, but again, not against great teams.
Allen was their leading rusher. He had 11 attempts, and then
a couple fumbles.
8, and Moss had 7.
Allen does have a case of the fumbleitis too. He doesn't seem to hold on to that ball very well. Too much popcorn before.
No, I shouldn't have had that popcorn.
He grew up in Idaho, potato farmer.
His hands are. How does that ever fall out?
He's a big target, dude. He's 6'5". Carrying the ball that high, anyone can come up and smoke you.
The peanut punch has taken over the league.
The Panthers at the Saints. I think the Saints edged out by 3. Was it like
27-24?
Okay, 27-24. DJ score.
Ooh.
See, puns.
Ooh.
We're punny. 4 for 93 and 2 touchdowns. One of them I thought was a rush, but apparently it counted as a reception, like a 2-yard little flick pass type deal. So that was the best week, but he's now sitting at wide receiver 12. Do you think DJ Moore has more value than Patrick Mahomes?
Well, obviously, wide receivers have more value than quarterbacks, but fuck no, he doesn't. That's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he's the best quarterback in the league. Any given week, he can score 30 to 40 points.
Easily.
And
we've only seen a handful of good weeks out of Moore and a couple of average and even a couple bad.
Yeah, bad. I don't think Moore is the guy to buy on. I think he's fool's gold. I would not think this is the rest of the year production you'll get out of
I think if you throw in a guy like Laviska Shenault with Moore,
maybe a Jamal Williams,
maybe a backup running back for Green Bay, and then ask for like an ascending Leonard Fournette, and I don't know, an Eckler who's going to come back soon and be the guy on the
injured
team.
RB1.
Yeah, like maybe that would make it fair though.
Only sounds right.
Jesus, Scott, what the hell are you doing?
Mike Davis disappointing. He, I think, got
touching.
under 20 rushing yards, I think is what it was. He wasn't very effective in the pass game. Did you miss on your opportunity to sell Mike Davis?
I don't think so. The Saints defense is pretty solid. They had to do some creative stuff to score on them, without a doubt. But
you got to hit the bottom button on the TV. We're trying to turn the game on here. We haven't been doing it. I've been slacking. But right now seems like a good time for us to take an ad break. Let's turn that bitch on.
Do you have erectile dysfunction?
Yo, tell me more.
Can your chameleon no longer change colors?
Yes, tell me more. Wait, changes colors?
Blue choo-chooables.
And they are the chews for yous.
Yeah, yours don't turn blue?
Your chameleons do?
My left one's bigger than my right one, though.
Well, that sounds like an issue. That could throw off your walk.
You get used to it. I mean, I don't know.
They're always empty.
And we're back.
And
from
we're
that
back.
Commercial break.
On the Saints side of the ball, Kamara had another good day without even getting into the end zone. I think he had 83 on the ground and another 8 for 65 through the air. So obviously, especially with Mike Thomas being out and potentially getting traded,
Yeah.
there's been talks around it. I don't know how true it is, but Pro Football Talk mentioned it. He's definitely the best asset to have.
Calling it, he's going to Tampa Bay.
What? So they'll be 4 deep with Evans, Godwin, AB, and Michael Thomas?
6, 7 deep. You got Gronk. You got T-Money, Tyler Johnson. You keep forgetting about these guys. No, I don't think he's go there. I don't think they would ever trade him to a division rival.
No, that just doesn't make sense.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow got him.
What about possibly going to Seattle? Seattle's looking for somebody, but they just traded 2 first, so they're not going to be able to get him for that. They'd have to give up somebody for him. I don't know if they have the assets.
I don't know where he'd go. Philly?
Might make sense. They need a wideout. New
We'll see.
England.
If I was a betting man, my bet would be that he does not get traded.
That's where I would lean as well. All the frustrations aside, it's tough to move a stud receiver like that.
Absolutely. Marquez Callaway had 8 receptions for 75 yards. Is he worth looking at? I think this is the only stat line he's really put up this year.
Emmanuel Sanders was out. Michael Thomas was out.
Traquan Smith, didn't he score a touchdown?
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, and Cook definitely scored. I mean, Drew Brees is like Tom Brady. He's going to spread the ball to whoever's open. And
Whoever's open 5 yards on the field.
Yeah, he can't throw more than 10. So it's, I don't know. I think it's kind of fool's gold. It's tough to predict. Similar to the Tampa Bay's offense, there's going to be weeks where your guys are not going to score.
I wouldn't break the bank for him.
I wouldn't either.
Yep.
Maybe a stash if you have somebody you can drop, but I don't know if I like it. Moving on, Green Bay versus Houston. Rodgers had another good week, 4 touchdowns, landed him at QB8 on the week. Without Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams had 20 points, a little over 20 points, so what a great trade. And then Adams was the only guy on the offense that was outside of Williams and Rodgers that was worth having. 13 receptions, 196 yards, and 2 touchdowns, which I think landed him as wide receiver 2 on the week.
Yeah, he
Behind
absolutely
Lockett.
dominated. And
I'm just saying, I mean, is Lockett better than Devontae Adams? 2 more catches, 4 more yards, and 1 more touchdown?
Wait, did Adams end at 196?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think so. Personally, I'd take Adams because I think
It's because you're wearing green right now.
no. And it hurts me to pick a Packers player, but Adams is just a better receiver, and I think he's got more value in winning games. Seattle can win without Lockett. I don't think Green Bay is going to win without Adams.
They did it for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Now, Star, as the new coming Packers fan,
Are you talking just fantasy?
fantasy or in general? Either one. Both.
Because Adams is definitely a more physical, all-around better receiver option, I'd say.
I'm taking Adams too. He's a better fantasy player. He's a better wide receiver
So
with
as
a good
far
quarterback.
as fantasy goes, a healthy Adams is getting that every week.
Yep.
Lockett is an anomaly when that happens. Not an anomaly, but it's a guessing game when that's going to happen to him. But I also have never owned a Packers player, so fuck you, Devontae Adams. I'm taking Tyler Lockett on my team.
Fair enough. Houston, there's really not much to like on this team. Offensively, Watson had a rough week. All the wide receivers had a rough week.
David Johnson, he had some garbage time.
He did get a touchdown
got the
later in the
receiving
game,
touchdown.
but
He keeps just floating at that like 12 points a week.
And that's what, like, a solid guy like that is pretty valuable. In the landscape we have where guys are 25 points and then the next week they're at 6, having someone that's right between that 12 to 15, maybe 18, if he scores the touchdown, I like that.
I kind of like that more than the guy that might get you 2, but might get you 25.
Exactly. Those guys can definitely win you games, but they can also lose you games. David Johnson's not going to lose you games, but he could be something towards winning.
It all depends how many times the guy gets 25 compares to 2.
Well, that's fair.
If it's 2-1, I think I'll take the 25-point guy. If it's 1-1, I might lean more towards the
consistency, I think, is what I like.
Yeah, that's what I try to build.
You plug a guy in, you're like, okay, I know he's getting me 14.
Exactly.
He's getting outside of a quarterback. I don't want a Baker who's going to get me 14. Not me.
I think with this injury to OBJ, this could be a blessing in disguise.
It's possible, and that's the game we're moving into: Cleveland versus Cincinnati. On the Cincinnati side of the ball, there's a lot of big days for a lot of players.
AJ Green scored, right?
Nope, Green did not score.
Oh shit!
Burrow had a 30-point day, and he's only had 2 weeks under 300 passing yards this year. He had 400, and I think 3 touchdowns is what it was.
Rookie's getting a rookie out.
Currently QB
Still
13.
not the best one though.
He's coming up.
Currently QB 13. Do you think he finishes as a QB1? Not the QB1, a QB1.
I think so, because I think Dak is probably still in that top 10 right now with how many points he had scored before his injury.
I think so.
So I think he will definitely make his way up in the top QB1.
I think he finishes as a 1 as well. Star?
Yeah. I think he'll get up there. They score a lot of garbage points.
Gio stepped in. I think he had an 18-point day. He got most of his usage through the air. He didn't have a lot of rushing yards, but he had like 6 grabs for 70 yards or something like that. So he had a pretty good day.
Yeah, he was right around 20.
And then all the wide receivers 8. When you throw for 400 yards, everyone's getting fed.
Higgins.
Boyd, 11 for 101 and 1. Green, 7 for 82. And Higgins, 5 for 71 and 1 touchdown. Who's the number 1 wide receiver that you want on this team moving forward?
Dynasty, T. Higgins. Yearly, T. Higgins.
Ooh. I don't know. Tyler Boyd is definitely the wide receiver 1, and AJ Green is coming on late. But I do agree on your Dynasty take. T. Higgins with Joe Burrow is going to be a connection for years to come.
Well, like Charge said last week, I mean, Higgins was his number 3 wide receiver in this rookie class to have on a Dynasty team, and I'm sitting pretty much right there with him. I do think Boyd is the guy to have this year, and I'm looking up his stats right now.
On the year?
Yeah, he's wide receiver 17 on the year is what Tyler Boyd is, and Higgins is wide receiver 32.
But he also is rookie. Who's just working his way into the lineup. Over
His
the
first
last
few weeks were a little rough.
I'm happy to have Higgins on my team, but I do think Boyd is probably going to see a little bit more production. And AJ Green stepping up too. I mean, it's nice to see.
Yeah.
Now, he's obviously injury prone. Sometimes turf toe or hamstring could pop back up, so I'm not too sure about him. But
and he wants out.
Yeah.
At this point, he's rosterable and even startable if he keeps playing the way he has been. 2 weeks after everyone dropped him.
Yeah, 2 weeks after everyone here told me. I'm a fan of Green.
You are? Okay, good.
Yeah.
You're wearing green. You picked Devontae Adams over Tyler Lockett. I see a trend here. Is green your favorite color?
No, blue. Blue or purple?
Green is the color of envy, lust, and desire.
Ooh.
Fun fact for the day.
Money, Eagles, and Jets.
I have 2 out of those 3. You guess which they are.
Eagles and Jets.
On the Cleveland side of the ball,
yes.
Obviously we lost OBJ.
But we gained Butker. What's his name?
Harrison Bryant.
Bryant. Or the Peoples Jones.
Donovan's Peoples Jones.
Yep.
I think he's out of Michigan.
That guy is a baller. I just think that now that OBJ's gone, I don't think he's been that vocal, get me the ball kind of guy. But in the huddle, I definitely think he's like, this is my play. I think Baker will be able to excel just throwing to the open receiver.
I think that's true too.
And I texted you guys.
Too many weapons on your team, especially a player like OBJ, you have to try and get him the ball.
You got to feed him his. And what's surprising, Baker's definitely the guy that likes to celebrate and be in the field and be in the moment.
Yep.
When he throws a touchdown to OBJ, he doesn't run up and celebrate with OBJ. He runs over to Landry and goes, "All right, we're getting you yours now." You know, he definitely wanted to feed OBJ and keep him happy, but I think this really could be a blessing in disguise. I think Baker's going to come out and show what he can do now.
That final drive was Higgins and Peoples Jones.
Yeah.
I was going to go into Rashad Higgins, 6 for 110 with no touchdowns, especially with OBJ done this season. He's my bud plug of the week. Man, I'm just rumbling, stumbling. I'm Daniel Jones in my speech right now.
Is there any relation, Higgins to Higgins? T. Higgins and Rashad Higgins?
I don't know. I'll fact check
something
that.
I was curious about. But I think Baker is going to be a QB1 the rest of the season. I think I told you guys in the last drive, give me Baker here to win the game. And he went out and did that.
You think Baker will finish as a QB1, or do you think from starting week 8 on that Baker will be a QB1 for week 8 to week 16?
I think he will for sure be a QB1 the rest of the year, and I think there's a potential for him to finish as a QB1.
You want to BudHole bet that?
Sure.
I'll do $10 between week 8 and week 16. Baker Mayfield finishes QB 13 or lower.
Sure, I'll take that.
Let's do it.
Bet.
BudHole bet. So you liked? I don't gamble. We'll have to post that on the lines. And then Harrison Bryant, like we talked about, rookie tight end, 4 for 56 and 2 touchdowns. Had a big week, but Hooper was out with an emergency appendectomy.
And
Njoku was back.
Yep.
I don't know how I feel about him. Maybe worth keeping an eye on, but
and maybe they're just trying to get some tape on him so they could sell him because there was trade talks earlier in the year.
That's possible.
I think Hooper is a buy now candidate. If you can weather the storm for 2 weeks, have a bench spot after he comes back from the bye and this appendectomy.
He should be back next week with the appendectomy. So with the bye week, the next week that they're up, I think he's back.
Yes.
Hollywood Higgins and T. Higgins are not related, according to Reddit.
All right. Good to know.
Hollywood, is that Rashad?
Rashad Hollywood Higgins.
That's a new nickname, huh?
No, that's since college. That's been his nickname.
Has it really?
I've heard
Yeah.
that one before.
Oh, news to me. I don't watch college football. Detroit versus Atlanta, nothing special on the Detroit side of the ball. Hawk found the end zone. Like we said, it's like 556 and a score. Galladay, I think he ended as wide receiver 23 on the week, but he had 9 for 100 and something. He ended with 17.7.
Yeah, he was solid. Didn't hit the end zone, though.
What I don't like is that they continue to feed AP. I get it. You have to get him running to get him going, but you have DeAndre Swift, and when Swift is in, he looks electric. But it was 11-9 for carries in AP's favor. You got to get Swift the ball, especially if you want to stay in games.
He looked good.
He did.
I considered if running back wasn't such a hard position to have right now, I considered dropping Adrian Peterson. I need to keep him for bye weeks, but
Yeah.
that looks like it's Swift's team going forward.
Another first quarter score for Swift.
This week?
Yep, he scored in the first with 4 minutes left. So he's been getting his
Oh, I didn't know he
action
had a touchdown.
early on.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, Swift did score.
Okay. Atlanta side of the ball, like we mentioned earlier, Gurley is dominating. 63 rush yards, 2 touchdowns, the one that he probably shouldn't have had,
Damn.
which cost him the game, and then 2 for 19 through the air. He's up to RB8 on the season right now. Is this where we should expect him to finish by the end of the year?
I think as long as he stays healthy, he could be an RB1. I think right where he finishes.
I think he'll go down.
You think he gets a?
Do you think he
serious
finishes
injury?
13 and lower?
Yeah.
Do I sense a bet?
Okay. I got one more bet me tonight. So if we want it to be this one, I'll take it. Injury clause. If
No.
he gets injured for more than 3 weeks, no bet. Okay.
No clauses. Straight up, I don't think he's
This isn't
finishing as the
Christmas.
top
We don't
12.
want clauses.
Okay, fuck it. $10.
$10.
All right. I bet that we can get Gage's Rage to bet by the
Again.
end of the episode. $10?
Nope.
All right. We'll see.
Oh.
Is Julio back? Leading the team in targets, receptions, and yards the last 2 weeks, and I think even touchdowns,
I think Matt Ryan is back. That's more important.
which helps out Ridley and Julio. But there was a lot of talks about Julio kind of being done. People were worried about him at the beginning of the year, especially with, I think he was injured 1 week or a couple weeks. I think he's back. I think he's startable every week, besides his bye, probably.
Does Ridley continue to be startable every week?
I think so.
I think Ridley's a solid wide receiver 1.
I think that Ridley, Jones, and Gurley, you should be starting every week. And then Matt Ryan is matchup dependent.
Absolutely agree.
Tampa Bay, Las Vegas. Another solid week from Brady. He had another 4 touchdowns, I think. All wide receivers, 8 except for Evans. Fournette even got 6 catches through the air, which puts him up to 13. In our BudHole bet, I am 10 away.
Keep
10
counting.
for the rest of the season.
Hey, but season's almost half over.
I know, that's
It's
what
not
I'm
like
saying.
you're killing this bet or anything.
No, I'm
And
not.
it's-
It seems to be a much fairer bet than I thought, but I also thought he was going to be on the Jaguars when I made that bet. So
True.
things are different. And
It's been
injured.
very week to week.
He's been 2 weeks off.
Yep.
So we'll see. We'll see. It's not over yet. You still have a chance. You're still winning.
They're going with the hot hand. Fournette was open with flat quite a bit.
But Ronald Jones is not a pass catcher. Fournette is.
That's fair.
Like I said, all the wide receivers had a good week. Even Tyler Johnson got into the end zone on one catch for like 4 yards, something like that. Adding Antonio Brown to the mix. What does that make you think about this wide receiver core? Where do you rank these guys rest of season?
I think they do have a wide receiver one every week. I just have no fucking idea who it's going to be.
Between Godwin, Evans, and
AB.
Brown.
I think there's...
And even Gronk.
Yeah, I think Gronk is a solid option. He's getting into game shape, but he's going to have weeks where he's not going to be your tight end one.
I think he's going to step into this role a little bit more than he was. He didn't play for a year. Took him a handful of weeks to get back into it, and now he's starting... Doesn't look like 11 Gronk, 12, 13, 14 Gronk, but he looks decent.
And he took a few hits this last game.
Taking in another guy who hasn't played in over a year as well, though. Is it going to take AB?
And AB?
6 games to get back into game shape?
Fantasy-wise, makes me a little nervous,
That's
for their
the
team
playoffs
looking into the
almost.
playoffs...
And that's what they're playing for postseason. They're not playing for fantasy
Nope,
playoffs.
they don't care about my fantasy team, and that's not cool. On the Raiders side of the ball, the only two people to really talk about were Aguilar and Waller. Waller had 6 for somewhere in the 50 range for a touchdown, and Aguilar had 5 for 107 in a score. It's his 3rd week in a row finding the end zone.
Yep.
But he sits at wide receiver 47
Yeah,
on the year.
Start.
Is he worth adding in maybe a flex play on a bye week?
I'd give him an ad. I think Aguilar is a talented player that just hasn't found the right fit. And he's been banged up in injury in his past.
He had drops for the Eagles, too.
Yeah.
These questions are always so hard for me, in particular, because I drafted so well that I haven't had to make moves.
Oh my God.
So you're talking about adding these guys for a week here, trying to take a run on this guy. Who do I drop? Who do I drop? Everyone's a stud on my team. I have to discard a gem to pick up a guy like Aguilar? Are you shitting me?
What's your team name?
Yeah, let's go check this
Type
one out
BudHole
real
69.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Type BudHole 69. Let's just take a look at his bench right now. Well, Deontay Johnson, Devin Singletary.
quick. Kenyon Drake is in his starting lineup.
Yeah, he put up 30 points last week.
And 4.6
Wow, you
this week.
actually, I mean, he's not lying. Although it sounded cocky, I wouldn't drop Robbie Anderson, Cooper Kupp, Josh Jacobs.
AJ Green is
AJ
droppable.
I wouldn't drop
Or
AJ
Nelson
Green
Aguilar?
for Aguilar.
You would rather have Aguilar
No,
than AJ Green.
I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't drop Deontay Johnson or Justin Jefferson for him.
You could drop Tay 2 gloves. Does Arizona have their bye?
I just picked him up because of the buys coming up this next week.
So after that, Teddy would be worth it, or Singletary.
Noah Fant is droppable.
But you don't really have anybody else outside of Jacobs and Drake, so
Noah Fant was tight end number 4 before he got injured.
he's not droppable. Vance is not droppable.
I think so, man.
They were still trying to get him involved in this week's game.
How
Okay,
many games
all
has
right.
he left injured with?
He's back.
Yeah, he just got back.
Came back this week.
He left with an injury.
I don't think he left with one.
Yeah, he did.
We'll have to look that up. We'll fact check it. Moving on, Jacksonville versus the Chargers. I want you guys to tell me the running backs that have more fantasy points than James Robinson this year.
Alvin Kamara.
Aaron Jones.
It is only Alvin Kamara who has more fantasy points.
I win BudHole 5, yay.
It's only by 3. He had
Wow.
119 in a score, and then 4 for 19 in a score through the air.
What a fuck.
Hell of a week. Gross day for the wide receivers across the board because when your quarterback plays like shit, your wide receivers play like shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then Herbert, another big day. He's sitting at QB 15 after missing 1 week. I think he had a 32-point game this week. Absolutely studding it up. Is he a QB1 at the end of the year?
Yeah. I told you to buy him week 2. If you missed out on that train, fuck you.
I did.
Justin, we're talking about?
Yes.
I was looking at my phone. Hell yeah.
He runs
He
so
is
well.
legit.
And
I think he is too.
I think when trust him, he's got great options on the receiving game. I like him a lot.
I'm really hoping that Tua comes in and lights the league up, and this is just one of the best quarterback classes. And they're
We can
gonna
just
beat
talk
it.
about Burrow, Tua, and Herbert for the next 20 years.
I hope this is Manning, Rivers, and Roethlisberger. Like, I
It
hope
could
this
be.
is that draft class.
You know, I did get a lot of shit for drafting Herbert in our rookie draft ahead of Burrow, but I think I made the right choice. I think long term, Herbert is going to be a solid all around QB. He runs so well.
It's hard to say between those two, but I think they're going to be. They're looking about even right now, the way Herbert's playing.
When you
Keenan Allen.
look like the hero in a 90s Disney movie, like, you got to be good at football.
He does. He looks like the guy on the Disney Channel, like you said about a month ago, who does the whole
This is the
wand
heartthrob
thing.
on a Lizzie McGuire or something. That's
He
who
might have even
Justin
been on a
Herbert is.
Lizzie McGuire episode or two.
Yeah.
Who knows? Kelly and Jackson kind of split production this week. They both played about the same. And then Keenan Allen, 10 for 125. So good week. We're winding down here. We have two matchups left. San Francisco versus New England. Luckily, there's not much to talk about with either of these two teams. Jeffrey fucking Wilson, 112 rush yards, 3 touchdowns. But obviously, as we mentioned earlier, got banged up. Tevin Coleman and that other guy.
Jermichael Hasty.
That's the guy. And then Ayuk had the best week out of the wide receivers, 6 for 115.
Decent week.
I have bad for New England written down.
And more bad.
And more bad. Nothing really to talk about there. Cam was horrendous. Stidham came in, another pick. Just bad.
Julian Edelman rosterable right now?
I have
Does he
a hard...
deserve a roster spot?
I don't know who you're dropping him for.
What's his rank?
It's not good. I think he's right on the edge of wide receiver 3. 31, 36-ish.
He's borderline wide receiver 5. Wide receiver 47 currently.
Whoa.
Behind Christian Kirk, Preston Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Greg Ward, Russell Gage, Jarvis Landry, Randall Cobb,
Wow.
Michael Gallup.
Now, he has had his bye. That's something to keep in mind.
Yes, he's also behind Devontae Adams,
Yeah.
who missed a couple games.
Adams just had fucking 35 points.
I don't know. I mean, the list of guys above him, I would take Kirk. I think I'd take Ayuk. I'd take Landry. Borderline Cobb. I don't feel good about it. Gallup. I would take Edelman over Gallup. I
Yeah.
think at this point of the season.
Probably not rosterable, though,
Juju. I might even take Tim Patrick over him.
depending on the matchup.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say he's borderline droppable. If you have like a Higgins available for some reason, if you have a Fulgham available, a Nelson Aguilar available, maybe it's worth considering.
I'd take all those guys over Edelman. I just don't trust it.
Not with their quarterback situation. Not right now. In the last game of the week, Kansas City versus Denver. KC was really led by its defense. I think it got 23 fantasy points. Their offense didn't really do much of anything. I think Mahomes ended with like 12 points.
Yeah, it was not a good week for
It-
Mahomes.
nope.
It was snowing like crazy, though, too.
It was.
Clyde
And,
got in.
and they didn't need him to be good.
No, they were dominating that game.
Kick return
Defense-
touchdown. I think after interception or fumble touchdown, Star was like, don't worry, Denver will score points. And then a kick touchdown happens. And I was like, fuck me. I was playing against them.
Yep.
But the point was that your game wasn't over. And I was right about that.
You were right about that.
A lot can happen.
Thankful for the win. Denver, really about the same. I mean, Lindsey was more effective than Gordon. But that was
Gordon
about it.
got in.
And Lindsey got hurt. Was that concussion serious, or did he come back in later in the game?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
I just
Lindsey
know
was knocked out of the game.
Lindsey yard per carry, 8.8. Gordon, 4.
Mm-hmm.
So when Lindsey touched the ball, played better.
I think Lindsey's had that storyline where he's always able to go out and do good things when he's given opportunities, but it's just staying on the field. It seems like he's just such a small,
He gets banged
diminutive
up.
guy. Yeah.
Yep. And then I was wrong. The last game of the week, Seattle versus Arizona. How could we
I
forget?
mean, we went in pretty.
We
in
did.
depth
The
for
game
that
that won me my week. Big day for Kyler, Hopkins, Christian Kirk, and Chase Edmonds. And then Seattle, mostly Wilson and Lockett. That was really all that was worth mentioning.
Yep.
Lockett, another hat trick. Like we said, 15,203. Just wow.
That's a league winner in most weeks.
I'm hoping I can have two that was not.
Yeah, it really takes something special to go against that and still win. That is a positional advantage that's crazy.
Well, that wraps up our week of fantasy. I do have a BudHole 5 for you guys if you'd like to play.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm always down.
Gotta find it.
Action.
It is now time to play BudHole 5.
Sorry.
Our apologies. You heard Star Lamar's sex robot. It is now time to play the BudHole 5. Everyone knows the rules, but I'll explain them anyway. You have 30 seconds
35.
to name the top 5 in whatever category I give you. Could be sports, video games, movies, etc. You get a point for each correct answer. If there's a tie, we go into a now 30-second tiebreaker round for Gage's Ridge. Items 6 through 10. If there happens to be a tie after that, we'll go back and forth on pick number 11. If the first person gets it right on the first guess, I will give a one-time rebuttal for pick 12 for the second person. The time starts after I finish reading the question. Now, we tend to stick in fantasy for this, and we're going to continue that trend. But this is a tougher one. And honestly, I'm going to be a little surprised. I'm interested to see how many points you guys get out of this one.
Just read the question, damn it.
Okay, all right. Not that it matters, but in full point, PPR.
Standard PPR.
Standard, full point standard, superflex, PPR, tight end 2 points. I want you to give me the top 5 scoring kickers through 7 weeks. The top 5 scoring kickers through 7 weeks. The BudHole 5 is brought to you by your favorite DFS site, Thrive Fantasy. They have eliminated the need to do countless hours of research because they only ask you about the top-tier athletes in a respective sport. Each prop has a fantasy point total associated with the over-under based on its likelihood to occur. So the more points a selection is worth, the riskier it is. Rack up the most points to win your share of the prize pool. Use promo code BUD, B-U-D, when you sign up today and you will receive an instant $20 bonus on your first deposit of $20 or more. You heard the buzzer. We're going to start with Star Lamar.
I spent 25 seconds trying to think of what the kicker's name was from Miami Dolphins.
Ooh.
And I couldn't think of the name.
Jay Feely.
So I have Daniel Carlson, Bass, and Butker.
Okay.
I put Steven Gostowski. I put Pollock. I think that's the Cincinnati's kicker.
Say it again.
Pollock.
Okay.
Justin Tucker, Zane Gonzalez, and Blankenship, Indianapolis' kicker.
Gage wins.
Woo!
With 2 correct answers.
Okay, I better
Would
get
have
the
been
kicker
3,
ones.
but it's Randy Bullock.
Bullock
not
with
Pollock.
a B, not Pollock. Fucker.
Star Lamar would have had 1 correct if you could have thought of Jason Saunders.
Oh.
Then it was Rodrigo Blankenship.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Tucker. They're all tied with 68.
Nice.
And then tied with 67 is Randy Bullock. And they pronounce it differently. I always call it Young Ho Koo,
Oh, sure.
but they pronounce it differently on TV, and they're wrong.
Fair enough.
Young Ho?
Atlanta's kicker, of course.
Yes.
Gostowski, where's he at?
He's 11 now because he had his bye
Ooh.
week.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even
Is
think
that
about that.
what happened to Carlson, too?
Daniel Carlson is 9, but yes.
I know
Carlson
he was
was-
up there when I had him on my team.
9 points away from being in the top 5. Joey Sly is up there, Graham
Sure.
Gano, and Brandon McManus, who had a really good week against the Patriots. I think he had 25, maybe 30.
Yeah,
Yeah,
clobbered
he had
it.
a lot.
Good
So-
win, Gage.
Awesome
I
win.
should have known Blankenship because I just saw that he is the highest scorer in the league so far. Not
Yes, he is.
fantasy, but in actual NFL.
Yep.
And fantasy as well. Well,
he?
fantasy kickers.
Yeah.
Tied for first.
I better get the kickers right.
That's right. Gage won that one because he is a super big Justin
I'm a fan
Tucker
of the
fan.
kickers. Yep, I'm a fan of talented kickers.
I don't
Kickers
know why
matter.
I didn't just throw Tucker on there while I was trying to think of the other one.
25 seconds trying to think
of.
of.
Sanders.
I was like, I just had him. He was number 1. What was his name? I Just played him.
Rough.
Same with the Pollock Bullock situation.
I think I can help with this Pam situation. All right, well,
Hello, Miss Lady.
God, it's such a good movie.
The Office.
We
No.
oh my
Step
gosh.
Brothers.
Oh, fuck me.
The Office.
There's a person named Pam in the office.
That you got that part right. All right, well, that wraps up this show. Thank you for tuning in. As Gage's Rage and Star Lamar would say.
Go jerk off.
Bye.
Check out our website, www.officialbudhole.com. We're on all socials at officialbudhole. Please leave us a rating and review on Apple Music, and we'll see you next time. I don't think so.
Wrap.